Comrades, you are called to order for the opening ceremonies. Comrades, we will now be led in prayer by our chaplain. Chaplain Hoffman, can you lead us in prayer, please?
Yes. The psalmist declared, "This is the day the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it." Almighty God, Creator and Sustainer, accept our thanks for this day and for all of its blessings. We ask that you will guide us and direct our chapter, its officers, and our actions. Grant that each of us may feel our responsibility to fulfill the promises made to service-connected disabled veterans and also their family members. May you bless our meeting today. Grant us wisdom for the decisions to be made regarding the 20 resolutions, and also your blessing upon the installation of our new officers. To this end we do pray. Amen.
Amen. Comrades, all members and guests who are veterans will give the hand salute, and all others place the right hand over your heart. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Uh-huh. Well, first off, I want to welcome everybody. Those that are joining us in person, welcome. Thank you for being here today. Those that are joining us online, thank you very much. We appreciate everyone joining us, and hopefully we have a productive meeting today. Comrades, as a reminder, we are here to address only matters specific to our organization. All discussions must be relevant to our mission statement, which I will now read. We are dedicated to a single purpose, empowering veterans to lead high-quality lives with respect and dignity. We accomplish this by ensuring that veterans and their families can access the full range of benefits available to them, fighting for their interests of America's injured heroes on Capitol Hill, and educating the public about the great sacrifices and needs of veterans transitioning back to civilian life. Providing free professional assistance to veterans and their families in obtaining benefits and services earned through military service and provided by the Department of Veterans Affairs and other agencies of government. Providing outreach concerning this program's services to the American public generally and to disabled veterans and their families specifically. Representing the interest of disabled veterans, their families, their widows, spouses, and their orphans before Congress, the White House, and the judicial branch, as well as state and local government. Extending DAV's mission of hope into the communities where these veterans and their families live through a network of state-level, department, and local chapters. Providing a structure through which disabled veterans can express their compassion for their fellow veterans through a variety of volunteer programs. I now declare this meeting open for the transitions of such business as may rightfully come before it. Comrade Adjutant, you do the roll of officers.
Comrade Commander, thank you. Commander Tom Wendell.
Present.
Senior Vice Commander Gary Salpini.
Present.
First Junior Vice Commander Tanya Koper.
Present.
Second Junior Vice Commander Shamala Capizzi.
Present.
Chapter Treasurer Kathleen Schultz.
Present.
Chapter Chaplain online Reverend John Hoffman. Immediate past chapter commander for 4 years in a row, Erwin Schultz.
Here.
Chapter Department Executive Committee member Tom Wendell.
Present.
Alternate Department Executive Committee member Shane Lehrman, present. Officer of the Day Jim Anders is online. Sergeant at Arms Joe LaHaye, absent. Judge Advocate Erwin Schultz, still here. Benefits Protection Team Leader Jesse Bendahan, in the room. Adjutant Shane Lehrman, present. Are any of our chapter service officers? Chris is not online. Monty's online, and Fred Skaggs
I'm online.
are online. And Assistant Adjutant Jeremy Yost.
Present.
Comrade Commander, all officers are accounted for. We have a quorum in person in the chapter meeting room today.
Outstanding. Thank you, Comrade Adjutant. Comrade Adjutant, can you read the members that are present in the room and online?
Thank you, Comrade Commander. Just to make sure we get a record, the members that are in the room that signed in this morning are Gary Salpini, Tom Wendell, Jack Hannon, Shane Lehrman, Kathy Schultz, Erwin Schultz, G.A. Redding, Jeremy Yost, Tanya Colbert, Jesse Bendahan, Anna Lutz, and Shamala Capizzi. Excuse me, too much clean air. Our online participants are Michelle Leffler, Lisa Gregory from Chapter 7 and past Department Commander, Maria Santos from Chapter 7, Jim Anders, Reverend John Hoffman, Monty Zimmerman, and Fred Skaggs, and Jim Procunier. I don't believe I missed anyone online. And that is everybody in the room. So now we have a record of everybody in attendance, Commander.
Outstanding. Well, welcome everybody, and it's glad to have everybody here today. And at this point, in reference to our minutes are posted on our website. They were recorded and they're on our YouTube channel. So if you weren't able to attend last month, please go on there, take a look at those minutes. And
Also, Comrade Commander, the minutes were sent out yesterday in the meeting notice with a link to our YouTube channel, so they have been posted. I move that we accept them as recorded.
Media pass seconds.
I have a motion and a second. Any questions on the motion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes are above the nose. There you go, Shane.
Thank you, Tom.
Just for you.
You've been saying that for so long, we're going to keep it rolling.
All right. At this time, we'll hear our treasurer's report from our treasurer, Ms. Kathleen Schultz.
This is going to be short. This is the report period April 1st, April 30th, 2021. Our income was from a donation by James Powderly for $500. We had no disbursements. Our starting balance before the 500 was $17,971.52. Adding the 500, that leaves us with an ending balance of $18,471.52. The bank statement shows a matching balance of $18,471.52. That is my report, and I make a motion to accept it as read, subject to audit.
I second the motion that we accept the report as read, subject to audit.
But I like sitting there.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any questions on the motion? Hearing no questions, all those in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you very much, Comrade Treasurer. We appreciate everything you're doing for us. Comrade Chaplain, any sickness and distress that you know of?
Well, I'm aware of my own, and on Monday, May 24th, I'll be admitted to Georgetown University Hospital in D.C. for a lumbar laminectomy with insertion. In other words, they're going to open up my back, take some bone out, put some bone back in, put a couple of rods, stabilize my spine, and send me home. So hopefully I'll be as good as new after that.
Well, that sounds great. We will definitely keep you in our prayers. And I know, talking to Fred Skaggs just had a knee replacement. And Fred, we'll be praying for a speedy recovery for you. And GA's in the room today, and he's hurting a little bit today, so just keep him in your prayers. And any others that we didn't mention?
Yes, Comrade Commander, DAV member Paul Shook, who lives in Texas, but still a member of Chapter 10. He had spinal surgery yesterday as well, and he's recovering.
Wow.
Thank you very much. And Comrade Chaplain, please keep all of these members in your prayers, and we'll also be praying for you. So thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Comrade Adjutant, any communications?
Sure, why not? The most important communications is we received a letter and an email from the DAV National Membership Department in our headquarters at Cold Springs, Kentucky. All officers' reports are now online. No more filling them out, printing, signing. We can now do everything online for officers' reports. Who does that impact the most? This guy. So yes, I'm very excited about that. It's just officers' reports. They haven't said anything about the finance
And I
report.
don't think they ever will.
So that is the most major correspondence. I will be mentioning a few other things later in the meeting under new business, Comrade Commander.
Transfer. Correspondence.
You have it with you? Did we really vote on it? Oh. Yes.
All right. One other correspondence that we received, we did receive a transfer notice from Roy Spicer, the former supervisor of the National Appeals Office. He's requesting to transfer from the Roanoke chapter to Chapter 10. So at this time, I'd entertain a motion to accept that transfer.
Immediate pass, so moved.
I have a motion and a second. Any questions on the motion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed?
Nay.
The motion carries, and I will send the transfer notice for Mr. Spicer into national headquarters.
He was my boss for 5 years. I think I can say nay.
Can I change my vote?
All right, committee reports.
We're 6 feet apart, right?
All right, BPTO, Jesse, anything? All right. Service officers, we are going to talk a little bit later on about service officers, so we will discuss that later in the meeting.
One thing to add in reference for service officers to be fully aware of and members to be fully aware of. Blue Water Navy claims in 2019, it was passed into law that veterans who served on ship within so many miles of the coast of Vietnam are considered exposed to Agent Orange. That went into effect January 2020. At that time, VA said the provisions of NEMR, which is a civil court case from 1989, would not apply to Blue Water Navy claims. However, the NEMR court reconvened in November of last year and said VA, it does apply. Well, Shane, this sounds great, but what does that all mean? I'm glad you asked, Tom, because what it means is any veteran who is a Blue Water Navy veteran and got presumptive diseases, the VA must now re-adjudicate those presumptive disease claims to see if there's an earlier effective date that can be awarded to make it concurrent with the findings of NEMR. So if you filed a claim in June of 2020, VA processed it and posted your claim for, let's say, diabetes, but you claimed it 20 years ago and VA denied it, VA will have to go back and re-adjudicate that claim from 20 years ago, and potentially you would get an effective date to that original claim 20 years ago. NEMR applies to all veterans who served in Vietnam. VA originally said it wouldn't apply to Blue Water Navy. However, the courts disagree. VA just announced this week they are going to start re-adjudicating all the Blue Water Navy claims to see if they have earlier effective dates under the provisions of NEMR.
Thank you, Comrade Adjutant. Another thing under service officers, as many of you know, over the years, we've argued that a lot of military sexual trauma cases have been denied through the VA because their practices are very inconsistent with these. So what the VA has done is the VA has created specialists to handle military sexual trauma cases. So 5 regional offices are going to specifically do military sexual trauma cases. So that's definitely going to help us in the future for people that are fully trained to maybe come out with better results from these claims. So just something to be aware of. Membership in reference to...
Can I make a comment, service officer?
Yes.
Service officer. Okay, this is Monty. I've assisted 3 veterans and 1 widow. And thank you, Tom. I'm still engaged with that individual that that since you brought up that special circumstance that you helped and helping him ensure that he gets all the proper state benefits. So I'm staying engaged. I haven't been doing anything that I report on in writing, but I've been doing an awful.
Right. Thank you very much. In reference to membership, I went on to the membership website this week to pull up our latest stats, but right now, National is in the process of creating their new membership system. I was advised that it may be out as early as the next 2 weeks. So right now we're waiting for that to happen, and then I'll be able to give you a better report in reference to where Chapter 10 stands on our membership. So we will keep you advised once the new membership system is up and running. For those of you that didn't see the last DAV magazine, this Lisa Gregory there that's on line with us today had some comments about membership. So if you haven't read that, go in there and take a look at that as well. Great job, Lisa. All right. Women veterans. Anything from?
Today is the birthday of the Women's Army Corps.
For those of you who can't hear online, Anna Lutz just advised us that today is the birthday of the Army,
Women's Army Corps.
Women's Army Corps. Service Connect for hearing loss people. Relax, it's okay. Tanya or Sham, you got anything? There was a DAV Department Commander John Simmons held an event on, I believe, Wednesday afternoon at 3. Unfortunately, none of our members were able to attend. Several of us were gainfully employed. But I do know that it's out there, and we will try to get that additional information to provide to the chapter.
I have a question. Can you have the speakers come to the podium to speak because I can't hear her? I am one of the people that are not gainfully employed and would love to participate more with women veterans, and I'm part of Military Children Education Coalition. So that's kind of near and dear to my heart. So if you guys could fill me in on stuff like that, I'd like to learn more.
Absolutely. We can make sure we share that information when we get it on women veterans issues. I believe this was fairly last minute that we were aware of it. So sorry we didn't share it in further advance than what we did.
All right. Social media.
And the Women's Veterans Summit is June 23rd, by the way. Virginia Women Veterans Summit is June 22nd and 23rd. I believe that the theme this year, it's virtual, being bolder, something about crisis, finding clarity beyond crisis. And that's making its rounds. They've got a lot of support already from partnerships and everything. And I already signed up to go to that, so I can share that here.
Outstanding. Thank you, Michelle. We will be providing links to that very, very soon. If not with this after action report, we will be with the June newsletter, and that way we can reach much broader audience. So any other women veterans of the chapter can sign up and attend online as well. Thanks, Michelle.
All right. Social media, Shane?
When it comes to social media, we do stuff. I post things. People respond to those. We send out newsletters. Yay, us. There's my report, Comrade Commander.
Well, that was
In reference to our chapter website, it has been neglected recently, and I apologize for that. Tanya and I will be working on that. I tried to get in there the other day and I tried to get into the website the other day to make some updates. And unfortunately, I discovered I updated the password and forgot where I put it. So we'll be getting the website updated very, very soon.
Thank you very much, comrade. Fundraising. Nothing on fundraising today. Budget and finance, anything new there, Miss Kathleen?
No,
Nope.
nothing.
And
Other than we got state coming up and national convention,
Yeah.
which we got a lot of money.
we'll be discussing that. Yep. Legislative updates, Mr. Shane Learman.
All right, hey everybody, I just want to give you some updates. There's been a lot of hearings in Congress recently, and just go over a few of those. On April 28th, the Senate Veterans Affairs Committee had a legislative hearing. They addressed 22 different bills, and I believe 12 of them were just on toxic exposures, to include adding hypertension and monoclonal gammopathy of unspecified significance as presumptive diseases for Agent Orange exposure, K2 veteran exposure, radiation exposure, burn pit exposure, toxic exposures in general, healthcare for exposures. So it was a really big hearing. There was also some survivors benefits issues that were addressed at the hearing as well. Two of them real quick. One would force VA to look at every veteran who passes away during COVID-19 and their cause of death says COVID-19. One of the bills will force VA to get an opinion if they had service-connected conditions, and if those could have contributed to the cause of death other than just COVID-19, because without anything additional, a lot of survivors might not be able to get DIC benefits if the veteran passes away solely due to COVID-19. On May 5th, the House Veterans Affairs Committee also had a hearing specific to toxic exposure legislation. There was 15 different bills, and again, addressed a lot of the same issues that I already mentioned at the previous hearing. Some of the additional ones where radiation risk activity for Palermo, Spain in the 60s. Long story short, 2 planes crashed over,
All right, it's not Palermo.
whatever, a place in Spain on the
Yeah.
coast. How's that?
Yeah,
All right.
that's the tanker crash.
2 planes crashed. One was carrying nuclear warheads, 4 of them. 2 of them landed in Spain. And several hundred American service members were sent in to clean up the area with no radioactive protective equipment. They are currently not recognized as being exposed to radiation, which impacts their ability to get health care for radiation risk activities and presumptive service-connected benefits. So that was a big issue. On May 12th, there was a hearing in the Senate again. DAV testified at that hearing as well. A couple of issues that were mentioned. One was VA's standardized claims form process. Long story short, if the veteran sends in the wrong form, it may take VA 3 to 4 months to tell them, but then not tell them what's the correct form or give it to them. And then when they do send in the right form, they've lost all those months of entitlement because VA doesn't take a claim on a wrong form as an informal or an intent to file claim. That issue was raised, as well as MST issues. DAV National Area Supervisor Carmen McGinnis from Denver, Colorado. She testified about MST issues as a survivor and as somebody who helps other veterans file claims for MST issues. There were a lot of additional parts of that mentioned that Tom also discussed. And I will provide links to all of those hearings in the after action report. So if anybody wants to sit down and watch a couple hours worth of hearings just to see 5 minutes of this guy, I highly encourage you to do so. That concludes my legislative updates at the moment, Comrade Commander.
Thank you very much, Comrade Adjutant. Now, for those of you that don't know, our executive committee is our resolutions committee. So we sent out our 20 resolutions to the committee. The committee reviewed those 20 resolutions and came back and voted to pass all 20 resolutions to the department convention.
And we received an additional resolution that I failed to include. So we will bring that resolution up and we'll go through each of these, not in a lot of detail since we provided them to the committee earlier this week. And then this morning, I also included a link in the reminder. So if anybody wants to follow along from home and read those online, you can. The email I sent this morning is a reminder. There's a link to the 20 resolutions, and we'll just go through and briefly discuss them. Again, the executive committee approved the 20, so we're just going to run through the 20 without a lot of deliberation. And that is resolution number 1, support legislation to remove the prohibition against DAV members who are federal employees from communicating on behalf of DAV with federal agencies. This is a big issue for any federal employee who's a volunteer or an officer or a chapter or department service officer. And our very own Jesse Bendahan researched and wrote this resolution. Resolution number 2. Support congressional. Excuse me. Support congressional action to ensure that total disability based on individual unemployability remains available for all veterans, regardless of age or receipt of any other earned benefits. What we call TDIU or IU is available for veterans who are 60 or 70% disabled and unable to work. Since about 2013, there has been multiple attempts by several different agencies and organizations to limit unemployment, individual unemployability for veterans once they reach a certain age, but it is not based on employment or receives Social Security or any other disability. So this has been a long-standing resolution for DAV. Number 3, expand presumptions for service connection for former POWs. There's a list of diseases automatically being recognized as due to the POW experience. We support expanding that list. Number 4, support regulations for studies and presumptive diseases related to PFAS exposure. PFAS is what is often referred to as a forever chemical. It is found in firefighting foam. And since the 1970s, the U.S. military has been using it on several installations. Last count, there's over 600 military installations worldwide with levels of PFAS found in the water. So there's been high levels of water contamination. This would support adding studies and presumptive diseases related to that exposure. Resolution 5, support legislation for healthcare and a concession of exposure for burn pits. Number 6, support legislation to concede Agent Orange exposure to veterans serving on Thailand military base during Vietnam. The last report I read, there were over 20,000 gallons of Agent Orange dumped in Thailand, not just at discriminated locations, but everywhere. And there's current legislation to add Thailand veterans who served during that period to be considered exposed to Agent Orange. And that's currently pending in the Senate and the House. Number 7, support legislation authorizing the presumption of service connection for radiogenic diseases and elimination of dose estimate requirements. This is my soapbox that I stand on every year. Long story short, there's a list of diseases recognized as caused by radiation exposure. Except VA requires a dose estimate on how much radiation a veteran was exposed to. Problem with that is those estimates have been inaccurate, wrong, and they've had to recalculate multiple times over the last several years. And a lot of the data they had isn't good anymore. So we want to eliminate the dose estimate requirement completely. If you were at a location where a big nuclear bomb went boom, if you get cancer, it should be service connected, period, the end.
Or perform duties around nuclear weapons where you're working with nuclear weapons. Believe me, there's been a lot of them showing up on appeals. We've done pretty good at winning a lot of them, but this would make it a lot easier.
If anybody could hear that muffled comment, that was our immediate past commander, Erwin Schultz. Resolution number 8, support oversight of Department of Veterans Affairs practices in evaluating disability claims for residuals of military sexual trauma. This is in line with what Tom was just talking about earlier, about the VA is making a lot of changes, and DAV testified on this earlier this week on Wednesday. Number 9, support legislation that would exempt the benefits paid to wartime service-connected disabled veterans from the pay-go, cut-go provisions of the Budget Enforcement Act. I will explain this as quickly as I can and as easily as I can. For example, in the House Veterans Affairs Committee, if they passed a legislation or a new law that requires funding, this pay-go, pass-go requires them to find offsets in the Veterans Benefits Administration to pay for new benefits. Think about it. In order for them to authorize new benefits for veterans, they're cutting benefits from other veterans to pay for. This is a rule that Congress put in place. They can decide to waive it. We want to eliminate it for veterans because veterans should not have to pay for our own benefits, right? Because essentially, if you think about it, one group of veterans is going to lose and another group of veterans is going to benefit. We believe that is wrong because I think every American enjoys the freedom veterans have provided. Am I wrong about that? Not just veterans, everybody? We're good? Right on. Number 10, support legislation to include children in legal custody as the dependent for Department of Veterans Affairs purposes. Real quick, if you're on active military service or a retiree and you have a grandchild or another child in your legal custody, DOD and DFAS consider that child as a dependent. The VA does not. The VA only accepts a child that is adopted or a stepchild. So if you have legal custody of another child, VA does not accept them as a dependent and won't allow them to be added to your benefits. This resolution would make them have parity with what DOD and DFAS do on that same level. Resolution 11, support the elimination of the 30-day requirement for diseases associated with exposure to contaminants in the water supply at Camp Lejeune. Currently, veterans who served at Lejeune from, I believe, 59 to 86,
57 to 87.
somewhere in there. If you serve there, you're contaminated to the water. If you develop one of the presumptive diseases, you can get service connected for it. However, they put a requirement that you must be there for 30 days in order to be considered exposed. Not only do we disagree with that, VA disagrees with it in their own commentary, and the science community disagrees with that as well. There is no proof there needs to be a 30-day exposure to develop it. We want them to eliminate the requirement that you had to be there 30 days to be considered exposed. Resolution number 12, remove the delimiting date for Persian Gulf veteran illnesses. If you take a look right now in the CFR and the statute, the last day for a veteran to file a claim related to the Persian Gulf War or illnesses is December 31st of this year. That doesn't quite seem right, does it? So instead of them moving the date back, we just want them to eliminate the delimiting date. That's what that resolution is. 13, provide comprehensive dental care to all service-connected veterans within the Department of Veterans Affairs Healthcare. So this would, any veteran who's enrolled at VA will get free dental care, period. That's what this resolution would do. And there's currently legislation out there right now on that. 14, support equity and access to services and benefits for racial and ethnic minority service-connected veterans. This is one of DAV's critical policy goals this year. We've already testified it on the Hill about it twice this year. This just is supporting equity to access for everyone, so that everyone has equal access to everything they need, to even include rural veterans. 15, support enhanced medical services and benefits for women veterans. Again, multiple hearings about it this year. The Deborah Sampson Act last year included a lot of it. There's still some gaps, and this will let us to continue support funding those gaps. 16, support reauthorization of the Persian Gulf War Act. The presumptive diseases and the timeframes and the requirements on the Secretary to add new diseases expired in 2011. Anybody know that? Exactly. VA does, though. So we want to reauthorize that entire act because it will put requirements on the Secretary on how they have to add diseases based on that exposure. Number 17 is very similar. We want them to reauthorize the Agent Orange Act. That expired October 1st, 2015. And again, it only has to do specifically on how diseases are added and requirements on the Secretary. I think everybody knows there's been a problem getting diseases added related to Agent Orange in the last several years. That's why. Because 2 years ago, when former Secretary Shulkin tried to get them added, he was advised his authority expired, and then it became, well, we don't have enough money to pay for it by the OMB. This will reauthorize that act, so that's not a problem in the future either. Resolution 18, support legislation to provide studies related to and healthcare and benefits related from toxic exposures at Karshi Kanabad Air Base, Uzbekistan, or K2. For those of you not following this, roughly 15,000 service members were stationed at K2, which is right now in Afghanistan from 2000 to 2005. It was an old Soviet military installation, and guess what they found there? Noodles and noodles of bad things. Radiation, cyanide, petroleum products oozing up from the ground. And the Army did a study in 2015 that served there are 500% more likely to develop cancer. But yet, VA doesn't recognize that as a toxic exposure or presumptive diseases. This would allow us to continue to fight for those veterans specifically. 19, support legislation to expand radiation risk activities. Like I was talking earlier, this would allow veterans who served at the cleanup in Spain and at Inuwatak Atoll from 1977 to 1980. I'll give you a quick explanation on that. In the 50s, the U.S. were doing nuclear bomb tests at Inuwatak Atoll. 43 nuclear weapons were detonated there, and the entire population had to leave because it was so desolate. When they decided to come back in the 70s, the U.S. went in there for 3 years to clean up all the contamination. All of those part of the cleanup are not considered exposed to radiation. This would support that. Number 20, support humane, consistent pain management programs in the veterans healthcare system. This goes along the lines with finding better ways to help veterans manage chronic pain outside of just opioid use, to include other strategies and other ways for pain management. Those are the 20 that the executive committee approved. We have one more that I missed that we're going to bring up and talk about right now. This was written by our commander, Tom Wendell. And again, Tom, I apologize for missing it in the list, but I don't feel so bad because he didn't realize it either until earlier this morning. So this one was not considered by the executive committee, so we're going to bring it up so we can also discuss and potentially vote on this one. Resolution 21, support legislation that recognizes presumptive service connection for hypertension and MGUS as related to exposure to Agent Orange and herbicides. So these would add 2 new presumptive diseases. The National Academy of Sciences in 2018 assigned the highest level of scientific association between those diseases and Agent Orange, but yet VA has not added them. This would support legislation to get them added as diseases for Vietnam veterans exposed to Agent Orange. Comrade Commander, that completes the resolutions committee / executive committee report. Right. I move that we.
Well, let's first vote on the one that are added, and then we can vote them all.
How can we add a resolution? How can we add a resolution? There is interest in Veterans Day being recognized as an observed federal holiday with LCPS public schools or with public schools throughout the nation because it's inconsistent and non-regularized. And if DAV wanted to support that and work together with other veterans agencies, that would go a long way rather than having district by district choices, so that when military families move from place to place and things aren't consistent, it can just be quite a bit demoralizing for many. And a lot of veterans just aren't getting the days off that are employed by school systems.
Thank you very much, Michelle. Unfortunately, we have the Department of Virginia, but then so many days before the Department of Virginia convention so that they can review and have them authorized. But that is a resolution we could consider next year. But again, resolutions need to be specific to service disabled veterans. And I get your point. Federal holiday, and it should be recognized for everyone.
I'm sorry, someone's not muted and I can't hear you very well.
Hey, Monty, can you please mute your microphone?
I did, and then when you're done, I have another resolution I'd like to bring up.
We are not taking any more resolutions at this time.
Okay, I want to make a comment then about a resolution because we need to figure this out.
What's your comment, Monty? Go ahead.
Okay, did you finish with Michelle?
Yeah, we're not accepting any new resolutions, Monty. That's what I let Michelle know. That is something that we can consider. We've been asking for resolutions since the beginning of the year. And so that's why the chapter resolutions committee.
Okay, so for the last couple weeks, I've been trying to talk to people about va.gov and how it's lost acuity from e-benefits, and it affects disabled veterans. What the specific issue is when you go in the pay history in e-benefits, you could get shred outs that would show you if you had a debt, you could see if you had insurance, you could follow the whole thing, and everything was organized by date. Now, your disability, I can find my disability for this month on page 1, and I can find my education benefit on page 19, and it all comes out looking like a PDF, so there's no way to tell what's going on inside the specific pay action. So this is what I'm trying to fix, and I don't know if this needs to be a resolution or if there's another or a better way to do that. If this is a new business item, I'm just confused as to what we can do as an organization to help solve this problem for veterans writ large. And I'm amiable to do it any way you like. When you started talking about resolutions, I was thinking it was an option, but we can't even find who owns the line of business.
Right, Monty. Resolutions are generally going to be guarded directly toward legislative actions. And I'm not sure that legislative action forcing VA to do something on a business line is probably the appropriate action. So
thank you.
It sounds like it needs to be reformatted. I could work offline on that. I don't mind.
Maybe this is a new business item when you get to that.
Okay.
all right, thank you.
We've already told you that we would look into that, so there's no need to have further discussion on it.
And Tom's making reference into the va.gov because yes, they did make the switch. Monty, you are correct. And we will look into that as we advised earlier. So back to our resolutions. I move that we accept the 20 resolutions already approved by the chapter executive committee, as well as the new resolution we just discussed for hypertension and MGUS.
I have a motion and I have a second from Tanya. Any discussions on the motion? Hearing no discussions, all those in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you very much, Comrade Adjutant.
You're quite welcome, Comrade Commander.
All right. Do we have anything under unfinished business?
Yes, Comrade Commander, we do. As we discussed at the last meeting and voted on, Chapter 10 will start cleaning the American Veterans Disabled for Life Memorial again. That's next Saturday, May 22nd. That's our first date. We will send out reminders next week. And the memorial is in downtown DC, right across from the house on Capitol Hill. And it'll start at 7:30 a.m. So I just want to make sure we bring that up and everybody is aware because we will send out a notification. Additional unfinished business we need to discuss is Saturday, June 19th. We have 3 events scheduled that day, so we need to discuss that. First is the DAV Department of Convention of Virginia is June 17th through the 20th. Commander, you and myself will be both in attendance at that department convention in Roanoke. We also will be cleaning the American Veterans Disabled for Life Memorial that day at 7:30 a.m. And the third Saturday of that month is the 19th as well, which would be the day we would normally hold our chapter business meeting at 10 a.m. So I believe we have 2 options. We're not going to change the department convention, obviously, or including the memorial. So I think we have two options. One, consider canceling the June 19th chapter meeting, or two, consider rescheduling it to the Saturday before June 12th or the Saturday after June 26th.
So in reference to that, when you're talking about either canceling the meeting or having a meeting on another day, any discussions on that?
Based on the fact that we've got so much going on and due to the recovering from the COVID pandemic, we've had so little to discuss recently. My motion would be to cancel the meeting for June, because we built that into when we rewrote how we were doing our meetings in the Constitution and bylaws for just such a thing. So my motion would be to cancel the June meeting.
I second that.
Well, I would like to just add something real quick. National Convention is coming up, and we will have to vote on to approve delegates for National Convention. So we may need to be able to do that at either a June or July meeting. So I would recommend that we keep a meeting in June, but cancel the meeting in July. That would be my recommendation. Reschedule the meeting in June, but then cancel for July.
In that case, I think it would, if we doing it prior to the department meeting, so I would, if we're gonna do it, I would do it on the 12th.
And Comrade Commander, Comrade Adjutant, I withdraw my prior motion.
Okay. So part of the discussion is to have the June meeting on the 12th and cancel the July meeting. Is that the discussion that I'm hearing?
Then what's the benefit of canceling July? Just because we don't need to summer.
Right.
National convention at the same time.
All right.
2 weeks after.
Yeah, okay, so
All right.
I'll move that we move that meeting to June 12th.
And cancel the July meeting.
And cancel the July meeting.
Immediate pass seconds.
So I have a motion and a second to move the June meeting to the 12th and to cancel the July meeting. Any questions on the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right. So one of our upcoming things is there's going to be training for new chapter service officers appointed in May after our installation of officers. So if you're already a chapter service officer, then you are good. You do not need to attend this training. Your credentials will carry over for another year. So if you're already a chapter service officer, you've already attended the training, you do not need to attend this. This is only for someone that's never attended the training and is brand new. So we will be putting out information in reference to that. If there are people online or here in the meeting that are interested in becoming a chapter service officer, contact myself or Adjutant Learman, and we will discuss that. But yes, Kathleen.
That's not what that says. It says existing service officers are
Covered until.
covered until the department.
Next department convention.
Yeah, so they're good for another year.
Okay.
Yep. So if anyone is interested in becoming a chapter service officer that isn't already a chapter service officer, then let myself and Adjutant Learman know. All right, our department convention is scheduled for June 17th through the 20th. It's going to be at the Holiday Inn in Tanglewood. Currently, myself and Adjutant Learman will be attending as the DEC and the alternate DEC And this year, there's been some restrictions as far as other people going, due to COVID. It's been reduced to, just 1 or 2 people from the chapter. So we can't do like we've done in the past where we allow other people to attend. So for this year, it's only going to be the 2 of us. So, and that's a restriction that was placed by the department. Next. But all the information for the department convention, you can find it on the department website, and any streaming, you'll be able to see that as well, from the department website.
Is Shane going to be covered by national?
Shane's going to be covered by department. He's on the,
No, actually, I'll be covered by the chapter. I'm not going as a national guest, and I'm not committee chair.
Well, you're not on.
So
No, but
the commanders will be for you. The
No.
commanders.
No, in the Constitution and bylaws,
He's already covered under DEC and alternate.
DEC and alternate DEC, their travel expenses are covered by the chapter.
okay. National Convention, for those of you that don't know, National Convention was moved from Reno to Tampa, Florida. It's going to be July 31st through August 3rd. All information can be obtained on the national website. And we will be talking in later chapter meetings about delegates to the National Convention. Yes, Anna?
All rooms are sold out.
Wow. I know they had 3 additional hotels too, so there's like 5 hotels, and all of them are sold out.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
For those of you that didn't hear that, Anna stated that all the rooms are currently sold out, but I'm sure National is going to more than likely do something. I can't say that for sure, but, keep looking at it and trying from the National website.
They already covered that.
Okay. All right, new business. All right, this is something that we just recently received. This is from Congressman Wexton's office.
Yes, Congresswoman Wexton, she's a U.S. representative for parts of Loudoun County and parts of Fairfax County that Chapter 10 has membership. Okay. And she's reached out wanting to know if we will participate in her Veterans Affairs Kitchen Cabinet. They will be having quarterly meetings to discuss veterans issues on a national level and issues facing veterans in this area. And they want to know if we will participate. If we want to participate, we have to complete a questionnaire on who our contact person is to attend those, and you can attend either in person or virtually.
I'm interested in that.
So yeah, we will discuss it in reference to who we want to represent the chapter for this, and we still need to find out, like we said, we just got it, if it's limited to 1 person or more than 1 people. So we're going to reach out to them and find out, what the limitations are, and then we will get back in touch with you and let you know.
Okay, I just know a lot of people that work with her and that have been reaching out with me for Loudoun County veterans and stuff like that. So there's a reason why you were reached out.
Okay, thank you. All right, at this time, do I need to do a motion to suspend the regular? This time, I'd entertain a motion to suspend the regular order of business to do our installation of officers.
Second that.
I have a motion and a second. Any questions on the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Motion carries. Mr. Erwin Schultz, can you do our installation, please?
Nay. All opposed, please signify by saying aye. Please.
Thank you.
I told you to get this done in German. I can't read it. The officer of the day will take his or her place to the right of the altar. Adjutant will call the roll of the newly elected or appointed officers. As your name is called,
Oh, go ahead. We don't have an officer of the day with us, so when your name is called, please just come stand up here in front of the, whatchamahooer?
camera.
The projector. Jesus. So just stand in front of there.
Next year more frequent, but.
Hit in the head too many times with the C file. So we'll go ahead and do that. Stand up here and I'll try to even get the camera to turn in that direction as well.
Or we can stand up behind it.
Yeah, that'd move. Yeah, I could go out there. We could have the officers back here.
Oh, yeah, why don't we do it?
All you gotta just turn the projector so the light doesn't shine. Otherwise, you're gonna split.
So if you want to, when your name is called, stand
Demuting
here,
yourself here.
facing this way.
As your name is called, you will take your place to the left of Commander Wendell.
Commander Tom Wendell.
Okay.
Oh, you come over here.
No, I said to the left. Okay, to the right of Commander Wendell.
Well, we're going to get you better in the camera if you're that way then, over there. Senior Vice Commander Tanya Koper. First Junior Vice Commander Shamala Capizzi. Second Junior Vice Commander Anna Lutz.
Got by me, moving a little slow.
Chapter Treasurer Kathleen Schultz.
Oh, number.
Woman power.
You know what? Let's just not do that. Hold on. I'm not an elected officer, sir.
Your comrades in the Disabled American Veterans have great confidence in your moral integrity and your executive ability. Because of that confidence, they have elected or appointed you to your respected offices. Do you accept the office to which you have been elected or appointed?
I do.
Are you ready to receive the oath of office?
Yes. All right.
Raise your right hand. Say, "I," state your name,
I,
and repeat after me. Upon my word and honor,
upon my word and honor,
as a member
as a member
of the Disabled American Veterans,
of the Disabled American Veterans,
in the presence of Almighty God and my comrades,
in the presence of Almighty God and my comrades,
and before the flag of my country,
for the flag of my country,
accept the office
accept the office
to which I have been elected or appointed.
which I have been elected or appointed,
I promise to perform
promise to perform
the duties of such office
the duties of such office
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
I pledge to act
I pledge to act
and conduct myself
and conduct myself
in such a manner
in such a manner
at all times and places
at all times and places
as will only affect
as will only affect
the good of the order.
the good of the order.
I promise to enforce
Promise to enforce
and sustain
and sustain
the Constitution and bylaws
the Constitution and bylaws
of this organization.
of this organization.
When my successor
When my successor
has been duly elected or appointed,
has been duly elected or appointed
and installed,
and installed,
I promise to surrender
I promise to surrender
to him or her
to him or her
all the property of the order
all the property of the order
in my possession,
in my possession,
all of which I now affirm.
all of which I now affirm.
Upon the promise you have just solemnly made, I now install you in the office to which you have been elected or appointed. Well, you can lower your hands too. I charge you to be earnest, faithful, and devoted, and to remember that our mission as a disabled American veterans organization is not fulfilled until all our country's wartime disabled, their dependents, and survivors have been adequately cared for. Comrades, I now present to you your newly installed officers.
Go anywhere. Last chapter meeting, I was recognizing some of our leaders for their leadership during this pandemic, and I've given away the DAV 100-year coin, and some of these people were not here, so thank you very much. Thank you. King Tom? Where's my bowl?
Thank you.
Thank you. And Mr. Jesse Benham, you aren't here. Thank you, Karen. Thank you. Outstanding job. Thank you all.
I've never seen anybody have to get on their tiptoes to
I
help
know.
somebody.
My gavel, I'm going home.
Oh, you can have it.
Want him in?
All right. Well, welcome, new officers. And
Comrade Commander, I make a motion, we go back to normal order of business.
we have a motion to go back to regular order of business. Do I have a second? We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right. Comrade Adjutant, anything under good of the order?
Probably, but I don't have anything at this time.
But may I add something?
Yes, you may.
I was very happy to hear that you guys are going to start cleaning the memorial. I keep in touch with the VA Public Affairs Office in DC, and they are very much interested in coming out. Now, I can't be there on the 22nd. I will pass the information on to the young man. His name is Adam Stump. I'll include you in the email to see if he can be there on the 22nd. But they want to do a VA blog on the memorial cleaning.
Outstanding. We'll take all the help we can get, because the first one's going to be a doozy. Anything else under good of the order?
Yeah, this is Monty. I wanted to say thank you so much for helping with the widow of a Vietnam veteran that we were working with one of your national service officers to deal with the DIC claim. And I also wanted to say there are a number of resources out there for providing information, but none of them are complete. And based on everything that has happened, my intent with the widow, after we get everything done by August after the burial at Arlington, is to come up with a list of things that deal with Virginia and deal with United States problems that do not seem to be covered on any of the references that say have these documents or don't have these. And so I'm going to try to make a check sheet, but I didn't know if DAV has anything more comprehensive than what's out there. If not, I'm going to make one.
Thanks, Monty. That's a good idea. DAV does have an actual survivor's handbook. it's not a brochure, it's actually a handbook, and it's got a list of their documents for size. If I can find it online, I'll send you the link.
Thank you so much. What I'm specifically talking about are like the benefits for the taxes for Virginia, and then that you have to deal with the county, and then things tied to burial at a cemetery, burial at Arlington, and VA benefits and disability ratings and military retirement pay. And all of these have supplemental documents that are not listed in anything that we've seen so far. That's it. Thank you.
Thanks, Monty.
This is Maria Santi. In reference to Monty, all that information is out there and it is complete. You can get pamphlets from a funeral home, and it tells you what forms you need in there. It includes the cemetery forms, the DIC, the burial form, and all that good stuff. And you also have the VA benefits, survivors benefits pamphlet. And as far as the state, all you have to do is go to the Virginia county, wherever the respectful county, I should say, and talk to the treasurer, and they will help you. So it's not that difficult. All you have to do is go to Virginia Benefits for Veterans. So that's my input.
Thank you. Yeah, I found about 85%, but I didn't find 100% of everything that we should have had or is best to need. So there are some things that are not included, but I'll deal with that offline. But thank you so much.
There will never be 100%.
Thank you very much.
Reverend Hoffman.
Did you have something, John, for the good of the order?
Yeah, rather than, just as a reminder, we have a vacancy in the chaplain's position. We do need a nomination for a chaplain.
Thank you. Thanks for reminding us, Reverend Hoffman. If anybody is interested in being the chapter chaplain who can provide assistance to our veterans, sympathy, counseling, somebody who's good at empathy, and hopefully somebody that when they touch a Bible, their skin doesn't sizzle.
Thank you very much for that, John.
I had one thing.
Yes, Lee.
I had one other thing I'd like to add. I know Tom mentioned the magazine earlier, and I see PDC Pecuniary is on here. I'd like to give him a high five for throwing his hat in the ring to run for national office.
If you haven't read his little bio in the national magazine, make sure you take a look at that. And Jim, thanks for joining us today, and good luck. And if you need anything, we're here to support.
Well, Tom, I appreciate that. I got my start in DAV at Chapter 10 with Arnold Sells and John Mackey and all the old crew that most of them are gone now. They encouraged me to become a chapter officer and the department. And long before John passed away, he told me, he said, someday you need to be up on the big stage. So I'm doing this because I think it's the right thing to do to just keep going forward in leadership. But also it's going to fulfill a promise I made to John Mackey a long time ago. I'd at least try. So thank you for your support, y'all. And I hope to see everybody either at department or down in Tampa, my old hometown.
Outstanding. Thank you very much, Jim. Anything else under good of the order? All right. Comrades, at this time, 1 moment of silence will be devoted in honor of our departed comrades. May they rest in peace. Comrade Chaplain, can you lead us in a closing prayer?
Indeed. May the peace of God, which passes all understanding, keep our hearts and our minds in the knowledge and the love of God, now unto the eternal and all-wise Creator of the universe, the preserver of our nation, may be the honor, the glory, forever and ever. Amen.
Amen. Comrades, the purpose of our gathering here has been accomplished. But before we close, let us always be mindful of the principles of which this organization stands: comradeship, friendship, loyalty to principle and to our comrades, and devotion to our cause. Before I declare you adjourned, it is only fitting that we properly render honors to the flag of our country. And salute. 2. This meeting is now adjourned. Thank you for everybody that attended online and those that attended in person. Thank you very much for coming.
For those of you online, I'm going to leave this open for just a little bit. That way, if all of you want to communicate and socialize with each other, feel free to go ahead. We're going to continue to tear everything down here, but I'll leave this up, so feel free to talk amongst yourselves.
So Tom and Shane, thank you so much for everything. Thank you for the resolutions and for supporting everything at the department. Really, really appreciate it.
I think Chapter 7 still has more resolutions than Chapter 10.
Well, that's actually a good thing. We're not going to get that many in this year. There's a lot of chapters that haven't met to do resolutions, so it'll be nice to have some in there. And I think, yeah, I know we talked before. You guys got what, like 40 or something, Lisa?
We did 24.
Okay, so
We were going to do more, but timing is. And then the resolution committee, since we're having an abbreviated convention, we weren't sure how much time they would have if we did any more than that.
Yeah, and I think what we're going to do too is what Shane did before, Lisa, is he'll just give it to me in slide form like he did with yours and theirs. We'll get them all together. We'll put them up on the screen. We'll bang through them just like we do at National and get them done. We had our National Legislative Committee meeting the other day. We were talking there, and resolutions on a whole are down this year simply because a lot of departments canceled their conventions. And being so, there were no resolutions passed forward. So this may be a little quicker resolution session, at least for veterans and rights and that. So I don't know. That's okay. I think I'm going to be busy enough anyways. I'm not going to worry about it.
Doc, I just want to say I wish you well on running for national office.
Thank you. I appreciate it, Reverend. I sometimes look in the mirror and question my sanity because it is a big undertaking. We've got 4 people that are running for 2 open positions. Yeah. So, you know, it's kind of, you got a 1 in 4 or 1 in 2 and 4 shot of getting a position. But, of course, that's just the start of it. And, you know, Lisa's been around national events as long as I know. You're pretty much writing off a big chunk of your life for the next few years.
Sure.
And a huge chunk of your wallet too, because it's not cheap, but everything else, you know, there's expenses for the handouts at convention and some travel and stuff like that. So I've got everything ready to go. You know, I've got a past national commander, or 2, I should say, that are going to walk me into the nominating committee, and got my bank account opened, and you know, so it's starting to work a little bit. And by the way, Lisa, yes, mints. I think I'm going to go with the mints this time. It does cost. It is a it is a chunk of change when you start buying enough handouts for 3,000 to 5,000 people, and then depending on how many are going to be at the convention. I'm not ordering it yet till like trying to get the last little bit of numbers of how many folk plan on being there. But you know, every time it goes up by 1,000, my wallet gets skinnier.
Now, food is always, you can't go wrong with a snack.
I agree.
My daughter was flying back from Arizona and they were running late, and they have 3 kids with them this time. And she was like, we barely made it, and I have no snacks for the kids. And I had told her they need to sit in business class because her husband needs extra room with his walker and stuff. And they kept getting squished in. And she's like, well, I got us in business class. And I said, oh, well, then you should get lots of snacks. I forgot the airlines are not serving food. So
Nope.
on the plane with 2 kids, they could have used a pack of mints.
Well, so it's going to be fun. I know I'll see some of you at department convention. I've got 3 conventions, 3 weeks apart. I've got Virginia's 3 weeks later, North Carolina. Hopefully we can get this trusteeship put behind us. I could give that away. And then 3 weeks later is national, and depending on what happens there, a couple of weeks later it's Cincinnati. So I'm going to be pounding a bunch of mileage on my new truck. I know that.
Well, rest up. Get ready for it.
Oh, and by the way, it's about 80 degrees today, and the view over the golf course this morning is beautiful.
Very nice. It's going to be in the 70s here this week and 80s next week.
That's good. All right. Well, listen, I've got about 4% battery left, so before it goes down, I'm gonna get out of here. Y'all take care. If you find anybody that's got spare cash laying around they want to get rid of, let me know. I'll give them an address. And take care of yourself, Jim Andrews. Always good to see you too. And hang in there, y'all. We'll talk again soon.
God bless you. Take care.
Hey, John, when's your surgery?
It's going to be on a week from this coming Monday. It'll be on the 24th of May. And Dr. Mo, M.O., from Georgetown University Hospital is going to go ahead and do it.
Good luck, and we'll check in on you.
Say again?
Good luck, and we'll check in on you.
I missed that twice. Something was blocking. I couldn't hear it. Yeah. Hey, Jim, what happened with yours that you had a setback? Did they mess up your medication?
The reason I ended up in 3 weeks in the hospital instead of 3 days was they messed up my medication. So have a good talk with them before you get started.
Your Parkinson medication?
My Parkinson's medication.
How did they mess it up?
Wrong dosage, wrong time.
And what did that cause you?
They put me chasing guards and biting tires. It'll come out all right. Just make sure they got your medication straight when you go in there.
Yeah.
Fortunately, it was my wife that caught them giving me the wrong dosage.
Yeah. Well, I've got to bring my own because they cannot get Rytary in the hospital. So they told me bring my own Rytary with me.
Yeah.
And I've told the anesthesia staff, the nursing staff, the doctor staff that it's mandatorily I've got to have it every 4 hours during my waking hours. So
yeah,
we'll see how well they listen.
All right, well, you take care.
All right, well, thanks, Jim. God bless you. We'll keep in touch with you.
Okay, John, take care. Bye, Lisa.
Bye. Bye, Lisa. Thanks for joining us today.